Okay, it's time for a rant. Hey, so today I wanted to have a quick chat with you about product features and why they have such a bad rep. Um, do I agree that product features should or not have a bad rep? So nowadays, many people in the whole product management space love not to talk about features because features, um, being blunt in the past, probably had not been very well developed or very well explained to others that are participating in the project. So, for example, if you define a feature as a product manager and you add very little information to what the feature is supposed to be doing, then when it comes to product marketing, sales enablement, support teams, documentation teams, they're going to be completely and utterly lost when you see or when they see what the definition of your feature is. Because if your feature is only talking about we need a new option in certain combo box to, I don't know, define fonts. So why do we do this? There is not enough depth of information for others to build all the things that they had to build in order to tell the story. And yes, that's a very bad example potentially, but it is something that you can see many times. You just change the combo box, or the drop down option by just adding a new drop down option into whatever dialog. Many times, people that are very close to the product managers can get very, let's say, they know quite well the product and they know why they want to build it. But there's a problem with that. And this is, I think, where the bad rep of features come from. This is the case that, first of all, in those cases, there's no study. But I'm guessing that most of the people that do this, they had not really thought out very much why they need that feature. And how you should do or how you should define a feature so people understand it. Well, this is just, again, as always, going back to the basics. I know that probably I'm repeating a lot myself sometimes in these videos. But again, when you build a feature, what are you doing? What is the problem that you're solving? What is the problem that your customers have? What is the solution that you're building? What is the value that your customers are going to get from using this solution? What are those use cases where they're going to be using this solution? Who are the personas that are going to be using that new implementation, that new drop-down menu that you have added into your website, your product, whatnot? What are details on the technical implementation? Am I going to have to, do something that it's out of the scope, create new APIs, do a new database, whatnot, whatever it is? This is something that you had to do. Plan what are going to be the KPIs that you follow when you implement this. What are going to be, at least the very basic is like, what is the telemetry or the data that you need to track when you implement this feature? You might not have a KPI or some kind of goal or target because it might be difficult to set. That I understand. But at least you need to track the usage. I would say that in most of the cases, yeah. There's going to be cases of fringe cases where you can obviously not track if you're working with certain industries, and is what it is. Then maybe you do understand behavior and user behavior in different ways. But in most of the cases, you can do it. You have to do it with, in a compliant way, obviously. That's a different story. But all this information is typically missing from features. And most of the features, they just have like a couple of lines defining what the feature is, which tends to be that nobody misunderstands it. And this leads into another problem, is that whoever is the engineer that is going to be developing this feature is going to have a very different understanding on the feature, potentially, than the one the product manager has. So the outcome or the development might be completely different from what the product manager expected, because it's just so vague. So what has happened is that people talk about different things instead of wanting to talk about features. They want to talk about opportunities, initiatives, and stuff like that, and different names and different ways of defining them. And yeah, it is true that you could call them different things. And yes, it might be that opportunities, initiatives might be in different stages. That's also true. But some people try to just change the name of features just so we make the features or define them in a better way. But the reality is that you end up in the same situation. No matter what name you give it, you potentially, if people are still just filling just a couple of lines there, is not going to fulfill the need or the expectation of understanding what this feature is going to do, what problem it's solving for who, how, what industries, whatnot. So what I would say is that when you do a feature definition, think about all these things. And sometimes people talk a lot and very badly about PRDs, product requirement documents. And I know that product requirement documents can be very heavy. But in the end, product requirement documents are also going into this direction. They don't have to be so extensive and so heavy. And they can be heavier over time. In the beginning, they can be just a simple thing, a simple document, and a simple feature definition that over time is getting more complex when you find out more information, when you find out more requirements that you had to add. You can use that for a feature itself, or you can use it for the whole product. But treat it as a low-level entry of information that you start to add, and little by little you might add more when you do more market research or when you do add let's say more complicated stages of defining what that feature is. Anyways, I'm not saying that PRDs are exactly the same as features, but in a way they could be. Because, yeah, you could say that the product requirements document is for the whole product, whereas feature requirements is just for one feature. But in the end, you probably are answering the same things, because a feature, in the end, is still just a small product. It still has to solve a problem for certain customers, bring them value so you can actually make a profitable business. That's what a feature is, and that's what a product is. They are vehicles to deliver value. Maybe you disagree, and if maybe you agree, please share your thoughts with the rest of us in the comments down below. If you want to know more about the product requirements document or how to specify, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.